Hello, beautiful people. It's Quinton from the Hunters of Light, and today we've got Craig Kolesky on. Craig is a Nikon ambassador. He shoots adventure, lifestyle, and sports photography for clients like Red Bull. I would love to get out and shoot stuff like that. Imagine, shooting in all sorts of wild and amazing locations, action shots. I think it'd be really, really cool. So this is part of the Mirrorless series of creative showcases that we're having. Sponsored by Nikon South Africa. Thank you very much, Nikon, for sponsoring this. I know that the Nikon members of the Hunters of Light will really appreciate the input and the information that Nikon has to offer. So we're going to be going through the full range of the Z series cameras. Craig's going to show us some images, and we'll chat about the cameras and the results that are delivered from the Mirrorless series. If you're watching this for the first time, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell so that we can let you know when there's another bit of content coming through. If you're a subscriber, love you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. That's how the channel grows and how we can educate, motivate, and inspire more people. So yeah, let's chat to Craig. I can't wait. Cue the intro. Cue. All right, so we're talking to Craig Kolesky today. Craig is a Nikon ambassador, shoots adventure, sports, and lifestyle. And he's just about to do his 8th epic. I think it was, Craig. It was the 8th one that you're going to do?
Yeah, so I've been training for my Cape Epic adventure, and COVID has thrown a spanner in the works, and I was meant to finish my 10th one next year, and now I'm doing my 8th one, and hopefully COVID doesn't cause any problems. But it's not only training for the Epic, it just helps me with my photography to stay fit and be on the game with it coming to outdoor photography.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, I think the thing is that it's if you're involved or if you take part in the sport or the adventure activity that you shoot, it must give you quite a lot more. What's the word? Of a feeling for it. You know when to anticipate things, when things might happen. When the action's going to happen, etc.
Yeah, I mean, you have to shoot the subjects that you understand. And if I don't understand a subject or sport that I photograph, I actually do a lot of research online and YouTube. And there's so much stuff available now to help you get the better shots. And if you don't know, it always helps to speak with the athletes a lot, and just while you're actually shooting, just show them the photo so you can actually learn what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and what the key moments in the images are. But for me, as being an outdoor photographer, it's one of the key things is that I need to be kind of like fit to be able to do what I do.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you walking up a mountain with some cameras and lighting gear, etc. I can imagine that would be a bit of a thing if you're not fit. So a couple of questions beforehand, and then we can get into the different pictures that you're going to show us today about the different cameras. So what is your favorite subject to photograph? I mean, adventure, sport, lifestyle. It's quite a narrow genre, but it's also quite wide.
Yeah, it's very wide. It's always very tough answering that question, what's my favorite subject to shoot? But I grew up in the ocean surfing and on the street skateboarding. So I've got a big love for anything to do with the ocean. But lately, like mountains and outdoors and overlanding and all that type of stuff, anything outdoors is good. But I think if I had the option, anything to do with the ocean is my my favorite subject to shoot.
Yeah, that's. I suppose that it's kind of like goes back to your first love almost. If that's where it started. I mean, like for me, I'm certainly not at your level of mountain biking, but cycling started for me, and I think standard 5. Saw my first Tour de France, pinned a piece of paper on my back. Put some rubber things on my pedals and gunned it down the main drag at my place, and it's something that's never gone away. I suppose it must be the same sort of thing with that. Your first love is what you kind of stick with.
Yeah, I think a lot of photographers, when they start out shooting the hobbies they do and their friends doing those hobbies. And that's how you progress to become a professional photographer in the genre that you shoot. So with me, it was surfing. So surfing escalated to the whole outdoor adventure sports and shooting for Red Bull. And other friends who are, let's say, involved in the breakdance scene. They grew up young, they were breakdancers, their friends needed photos, they start shooting photos with phones, and it progresses to cameras, and now they're dance photographers. So it all depends on how you look at it and how you take that step to become a photographer.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so there's I'm going to assume that there are a lot of photographers that are competing for the shots that you get. I mean, obviously there's the pros on the circuit, but then there's also the guys that are on the side of the track when the World Champs comes to South Africa. What for you? Are you looking forward to make an image stand out from the average shots?
Yeah, so as you said, there's the professional photographers and then there are the sideline photographers. And I think it's always important as the professional photographer shooting an event to make your photo stand out. And I think the best way to get your photo to stand out is that your photo must have a feeling. And if your photo has a feeling to it, it'll stand out above the other photographers' photos. And it's very tough. Like I can shoot a whole day and feel that photo's not good, that photo's not good, that photo's not good. And then there'll be the one moment where I get a shot and everything is lined up and you just get that feeling that that is the shot. And that's often the shot that stands out above the other photographers.
Yeah, for sure. I know that feeling. You just the goosebumps. There's adrenaline coursing through your veins, and you just know that the whole day's been worth it. So the next question and the last bit of the theory exam for today is so those guys that are on the sidelines, they obviously want to get into it full time, etc. So how did you get from aspiring photographer to being able to do it full time for a living?
So the way I became a professional photographer was a very long exercise. I mean, I come back from the film days and I used to work in the surf industry, managing surf stores, and every spare minute I had, every weekend, every public holiday, I would just shoot my friends surfing or skateboarding or anything outdoors. And I think it was in 1999, Red Bull had that Red Bull Downhill Extreme skateboarding competition here in Cape Town.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to end up shooting as a sideline photographer. And a lot of my images were used, and I've never looked back since. I think I've been shooting with Red Bull for just over 20 years now, and it's been an incredible journey. And seen the world, and I've met the most amazing people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose it keeps coming back to the sort of theory that, obviously when it comes to commercial stuff, the personal projects that you do are the ones that potentially are going to get you the work because you're shooting stuff that you love, and the more of that you show, potentially the more of those brands are looking out and finding you. So it's just also the shoot, and eventually you'll get there. That sort of instant overnight success 10 years down the line, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, everyone picks up a camera and they think that within a year they're going to be a professional photographer. They can be, but they might not do everything correctly. So what I did was, before becoming a professional photographer, you don't just doesn't happen overnight. I worked on production film shoots and photo shoots for German clients for over 5 years. So I was a photo assistant, production manager. I was the water boy, everything. And I try to learn as much as possible on how a shoot starts right into post-production. And I think that's helped me quite a lot just on my personal shoots to be able to help coordinate shoots and just like from the start to the end. And it's very important that up-and-coming photographers don't pick up a camera and just shoot. They need to learn the basics of a shoot right up until the end of it.
I suppose the other thing that ties in with that is that back in the day, you used to be an assistant. You didn't, walk out of college and go and pick up a Hasselblad and rent out your 300 square meter studio and you're banging away stuff for Audi and BMW. You were an assistant and you assisted pros. In some cases, there were multiple pros that you assisted before you even got to a point of shooting your own work.
So yeah, I mean, back in the day when we were shooting film, it was actually, if you were a photo assistant on an international photo shoot, it was actually cooler than being the photographer. It's really weird, but yeah, we used to photo assist international fashion photographers for huge catalogs, and the shoots would be 14 to 30 days long. And obviously it was film, and you learned a lot from that. It was a big stepping stone going from film to digital and now to mirrorless. I've been through all three stages, and I'm very grateful for starting when I did and being in the film years, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I try not to make it sound like you're really old, but I think I might be older than you. But yeah, exactly. I mean, it gives you quite a unique perspective on how things have moved across, and I think that a lot of times that gives you the experience to be able to look at a particular situation, possibly where something is going wrong and you need to solve it. And have the ability to deal with that kind of pressure and take it from there. But I know that from comparing film to where we are today, it's chalk and cheese. You used to put the Polaroid back in, shoot your shot. The photographer whips it out, assistants there rubbing it on the shirt, and then there we go. Exactly, yeah. And a couple of minutes later, everyone's looking around this going, yeah, maybe we should just whereas now you set it up, you shoot it, and right, move that, shoot it, which is fantastic. And you can overlay, if it's a magazine cover, you can overlay the magazine on top of that. And you can see exactly what you're getting, and the clients can just take it from there. I suppose the one thing that it does do is that it does, the client then does look at it and go, why am I paying you for all of this other sort of stuff? Whereas back in the day, it was all sorts of things that you could charge. So I suppose it makes it easier, but at the same time, there's other things that sort of get in the way. But yeah, I think that's cool. Let's have a look at some of your images today. We are. I suppose it's a good point to say that this showcase is sponsored by Nikon South Africa. We're going to be showing a couple of images and speaking about the different cameras and things like that, so that if you're in the market to purchase a mirrorless camera, at least you've got a bit of insight as to what's available and what might work for you. And obviously we wanted to get Craig in because being an adventure lifestyle photographer, he's used them in a whole lot of different situations and weather conditions as well. So I thought that would be really cool to chat to him and take a look at some of his images. So, Craig, let's share your screen.
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, I come from film and then obviously DSLR and now mirrorless, and a lot of photographers are quite scared to move with the progression of technology. And I think I was fortunate enough that when digital came up, I was on the digital train very quickly. And as a photographer, you need to stay current. So a big thing for me with mirrorless is obviously I'm outdoors a lot and moving around a lot. And the mirrorless, because it's smaller equipment, it's enabled me to move around quicker and to move faster. And that's a very important thing for me is keeping it light and moving fast. We need to sometimes cover big distances on mountain bikes or trail run events and adventure races. So the smaller equipment has definitely helped a lot. So this is a very basic bag that I use with some of the light gear. And you can see, I mean, you don't have to go out there with absolutely everything to get the shots. And I've got a little recorder there to record some sound effects. I've got a mic if I need to do a interview with someone rather than the trail. And then my basic lenses I'm normally going to the mountain with are 70 to 200 and a fisheye. But lately I've been using a 70 to 200 and a 24 to 70 or 14 to 30, and then the 50 mm for all the portraits and stuff. So that is a basic bag setup that I would use with gear going into the mountains.
And
so,
as far as lighting goes, I mean, do you take speed lights, or do you take something a little bit more robust?
When we're shooting outdoor sports, we use the lights available. That adds to part of the story of what we're shooting. So, yeah, I don't have time when I'm shooting a 2-day trail race to set up flashes on the side of a trail to shoot someone running past. I need to move with the runners and keep as part of the race. And sometimes when there's a flash in the shot or artificial light, you just know that someone was there taking the photographs. And we try and tell the story like we weren't really there. We're just trying to show the race or what's happening as an outside source, if you know what I mean.
Okay, cool. Now it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so available lights, dark, moody, grainy, high ISOs, we just play around with all of that. If I do use an external light, often outdoors, I use a headlight, a head torch to fill in some light, or these little lanterns just to get some light in. So it's actually still a natural light source that would be there. So it's not something that I put in that's like pro photography gear.
Okay, cool. All right. So I suppose it makes sense. It definitely gives it that sort of natural, in the same space type scenario, which is cool.
Yeah, that's what we try and go for. Yeah, so the Z7, Z6 came out, I think it was 2019. I stand to be corrected. And I was very fortunate enough to get the first Z7 that's arrived in South Africa. And this was, I think, within the first 20 minutes of me using the camera, this was one of the first shots that I took with the camera, not knowing anything about Nikon mirrorless. And first shots, tracking focus, Z7, and things have changed a lot since then already. And I'm pretty stoked with this photo and how technology has progressed already with the mirrorless cameras.
Absolutely. I mean, the Z7 is a 45.7 megapixel full frame and 9 frames per second. So not a sort of a huge frames per second, but fantastic amount of megapixels for all that detail.
Yeah, I mean, the megapixels, you're putting it in the same scale as the D850. You can crop in and then rearrange the photo according to how you want it cropped or framed. But a big thing, a lot of photographers are all about the frame rate and the megapixels. If you're only using your photos on Instagram, like what is
yes,
how megapixel rate even help? And if you're only using one photo in a sequence of a burst of 30, why do you need the 30 frames? So a lot of the sports we shoot are very specific, very timed. Like I would have only maybe taken 4 or 5 shots in this little sequence here, and we would have set up this exact area where it is now as the key point of action to get the shot. I'm also going to talk about the athletes a bit. It's very important that we are out there working. We can't make them work too hard. They're going to get very tired, and 2 hours later they won't be able to ride. So we need to conserve energy and make things work as quick as possible.
Absolutely. I suppose that's something that I didn't really consider. If you're shooting something on location at a coffee shop or in the studio, you don't need to take your whole whatever up the hill, come down again, and then go back up again. So these guys, obviously being athletes, they need to be doing the action. And yeah, I didn't even consider that.
Yeah. So 2 weeks before this shoot, I cycled up the same mountain. It was about a 6 or 7 kilometer cycle, and I went up with a D5, D850, 70 to 200, 24 to 70. So a big bag load, 16 kilograms. This shoot, I went up with a Z7, 70 to 200, and then I think it was the native 24 to 70. So that gear load already is less than half, which means you get your spots and you got less fuss.
Very cool. Very cool. I can see how that would certainly help out.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was my first experience with the Z7, and then obviously the Z50 came out, and and as I do, I get a camera and I just take it into the most insane conditions. And this camera arrived as myself and Ryan. This was almost during lockdown. Myself and Ryan had a special permit to travel because he's a professional athlete. He needs to train, and I had a permit because I need to do my media stuff. So I'm in Matrusburg shooting the Z50. The Z50, I specifically wanted the lens that comes with it as a kit lens, which is the 16-50. It's small, it's light, and this is in full snow. It's dark, and I mean, I was really, really impressed with the images out of this camera. And these photos were uploaded to Red Bull Content Pool, and they generally really fussy with the quality of photos and cameras you use. And there was no problem with these photos. And I still use the Z50 a lot. I was in Namibia a few weeks ago, and I shot 90% of the trip in the Z50. So although the cameras look small, it's a lot of camera in a small package. So it's technology is definitely moving very quick.
For sure. And I mean, the Z50 is a 20.9 megapixel camera in 11 frames per second. So, I mean, that's no slouch. If you've got something in a sort of a smallish form factor that you can, whether it's putting it on the dash of your car or in a bag side pocket or something like that, that you can quickly whip out as opposed to, something bigger like the Z7 II. It's quite nice to have that sort of power in a small package.
Yeah, I mean, this camera was the go-to grab camera. When I was in Namibia, the camera was in my middle console of the car. I just would pull it out, and that'd be the camera I use. Or when I'm out hiking with the guys, this is the camera that's always available for me, like without taking my pack off. I can get to it super easy. Yeah. And I'm very impressed with it. And then another photograph, obviously a Z50, was this one with Ryan again. And this was also about an 8-kilometer hike up to this point. And generally, I would hike with a lot of gear, and you get to wherever you are, and you're broken. You're in pieces from carrying all the gear. And this day, I just took up a light pack, Z50, 70-200, and as I said earlier, you keep it light and move fast, and don't overcomplicate things.
Yeah, absolutely. It's when we start overcomplicating that we cause problems for ourselves.
Yeah, always. Sometimes you have so much gear, you're actually confusing yourself on what to do, and that's when you miss the shot. So what you have on you is just make it work.
Exactly. I mean, if you're sort of trying to work out why this is not doing what you wanted to do as opposed to just shooting it, as you say, you're definitely going to miss the shot like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, this was just a landscape shot, not even taken off a tripod with a Z50, and I should actually just send you the raw file to have a look at this, and you'll be actually very surprised on how rad the photo actually is out of a small camera like this, and especially at that price point. I would definitely recommend this as a camera just to use as a keeping in your car or your backpack, as an all-round camera just to have on you.
No, very cool. I can see the benefits of that for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you don't always want to take out your very expensive camera into like very, very hectic conditions, although I do. But it was just so nice to have this camera. It was small, it was always available, and even my son was using it, and he knows how to use it, and he loves it. Yeah. So this is a photo of Ryan with the Z6 with the 70-200 2.8, and so my go-to lenses in the mountains are a long and a wide. So I always decide on the day what our focus is to get, and now with Mirrorless, obviously things have gotten a lot lighter. We can move around quicker. We can get to more locations. And I'm not a professional athlete, so for me to carry the heavy gear sometimes was a disadvantage. Or a lot of the time was a disadvantage. But now the lighter gear, I'm finding I can move around quicker and I can focus better to get like shots like this where you can see he's actually working really hard to get to where he needs to go. And Ryan often runs, if I do 8 kilometers, he'll do 28 kilometers from the peaks I make him run to shoot.
For those long distance shots, eh?
Yeah, so Ryan actually a lot of the athletes I work with often schedule their shoots with me as a training session, an interval session, because they have to go up and down hills so much. So it's part of the training.
Absolutely. And this, with the Z6 being 24.5 megapixel 12 frame per second body. Nice, level of detail that you can pull out of that. And also, with the 12 frames, if he's doing something like this and, a slower frame rate, you might miss this grimace on his face. I suppose that sort of thing helps out quite a lot as well.
Yeah, so the faster frame rate does help you to, especially with running, because there's so many different little key things you need to look at to get the perfect shot. It's expression on the face, and the runner's stride. Like, you need to get that nice stride so it looks like they're working. And this is where higher frame rates come into play. And also I try and shoot an image not to crop it. So I often try and shoot it as close as possible to my final image that I want.
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's if you can use all of that detail without having to crop into it, it's going to be first prize anyway.
Exactly, yeah. But once again, the light form factor of the camera and just everything, just for what I do, is really made it easier for me to get around with equipment. Yeah. But then also there's the fun side of it. So during lockdown, I mean, a lot of people might know, but I shot toys every day for 45 days, and my son came up with the idea to shoot toys every day when I told him we're in lockdown, I can't go to work. And he was just like, well, let's shoot a toy every day. So this was actually a toy car we shot. I think this car is about 4 centimeters long. And
whoa.
It's shot to the Z6 with a 105 macro using the FTZ adapter. And there's like almost no Photoshop in here. The streaking of the red, white, and green line was all done with a paintbrush that looked like it was going fast. We used
very cool.
We used canned air to blow across the tires. We shot with a really slow shutter to give that motion blur effect, and then we used sparklers at the back to get the sparks coming out of the back of the car. So, I mean, having the mirrorless and seeing your images, I mean, just digital, getting your images instantly just like made it so easy to shoot photos like this. And it was a good time during lockdown to actually learn more about the mirrorless system and what can be done.
I love it. It's a very, very cool project, that.
Yeah, and this was shot for Red Bull. So
okay.
There was a whole story around it, but this was actually shot. This was a commissioned shoot for Red Bull. Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then obviously there was snow in Cape Town. Once again, this is the Z6, and I think this was with a 50mm 1.4. Once again, a Lego toy. You know how small Lego are, so you can see the size of the car. And this is where the frame rate came into play again, because we actually had to throw the snow, and it's not just one click. It could be one click if you get your timing on, but we threw the snow to give that effect of the car actually going through the snow. And the high frame rate definitely helped you to get this perfect shot.
Oh, I love it. I love this, the shallow depth of field and all of that. It's so cool. Really, really cool project, man.
Yeah, so once again, this all comes down to feeling. I was shooting this where everything was in focus, but it just didn't have the feeling. So I knocked this all the way down to 1.4 and shallow depth of field. And once you shoot the shot and you see it and you get that feeling, you know it's a shot, then that's when you like stop. Yeah, you got it, move on.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Very cool.
And then this was a surf shot with a Z6 with a 600mm f4, just to show that, I mean, you can see the range of lenses I've used on the mirrorless system has been from 600 all the way down to a 16mm. So I've used as many lenses as I possibly can with the Z lenses and the Nikon lenses to test everything, and I've had no problems. And on the high-res photo, you can go right into the stringer of this surfboard, which is the wooden grain going down the middle, and you can actually see the wood in it. And and this is also low light, no sun. It was an overcast day, completely blown away by the quality.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that I found with mirrorless is there's just a level of sharpness and crispness that I never experienced before. And I think that's part of this whole revolution of the mirrorless equipment.
Yeah, especially like onto the edges of the of the photo.
Yeah.
It's sharper. With the older cameras, it would big nets or just like be able to focus on the edges. So that's also a big thing. And I think as mirrorless progresses, it's just going to get better. I mean, there's no turning back. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah. Let's see what's next here. So this was the Z6 II mountain bike shoot. This actually looks like it's been flashed, but no flash. This is all just the time of day, moody skies, and two guys.
I was just going to say that non-flash story you were spinning earlier, but I suppose this could be the low sun kind of thing. But it definitely looks like there's an element of artificial light going on there.
Yeah. So the sun's kind of like behind me. I think it was maybe coming through a cloud, and often I'll get guys going, "Oh, you definitely use the flash." I'm like, "Well, I can send you the raw file, and you can check the metadata, and you'll see the flash on fire, and there was no pocket wizard on." But for me to cycle 20 kilometers with a flash and pocket wizards and remotes and stuff, you're just wasting too much time. So as I said earlier, you make the conditions work for you, and that becomes that unique image in itself, if you know what I mean. But
for sure.
This was the Z6 II. This was the first day I used it. This was with the 14 to 30 Z lens, the 14 to 30S, and it's pin sharp. And I mean that little lens for an f4 it's a lens I use a lot, and I really do like it.
Yeah, I mean I'm just looking at the left hand side, bottom left hand side. I mean there's no sort of real distortion and schmut that you get sometimes with these wider lenses. I think the detail there is also just fantastic, and this Z6 II is also 24.5 megapixels. And yeah, as you say, with that lens, oh man, it's lovely. Really, really enjoy that.
Yeah, so this day I actually took my D5 with me. I don't know why, because I didn't take it out the bag. I didn't even use it. And I learned a big lesson that day. It's like a big stepping stone. It's like when you go from film to digital, you always have your film camera in your bag as a backup. And like with me, I got the Z6 II and I still had the D5 in the bag as a backup, but I didn't use it. So my last 2 weeks I've been shooting, I have not touched my D5, D850, or my DSLRs. They've lived in the drawer, and I've just jumped into the deep end and just shot with mirrorless, and it's been mind-blowing what you can do and things. Yeah, it's I'm very, very stoked.
No, absolutely, I hear you. The struggle that you have when you're wanting to go back to a normal DSLR, you're sort of going, wait, it's not doing what I want it to do. And that's definitely something that you notice.
A big thing shooting with both systems is having a DSLR and then going to electronic viewfinder and then going back to the DSLR, and you're thinking what you see is what you get, and you start shooting and you realize you didn't change the settings in your camera and your photos come out overexposed or underexposed and everything. So a lot of mistakes have been made like that. But I wanted to touch on the lens. I mean, this lens, the 14 to 30, isn't an expensive lens. And I mean, I've had double page spreads and magazines printed with it, and shop windows and kiteboarding massive 4-meter pictures printed with that lens. And it's a basic lens. A lot of people get stuck on, they have to have the 2.8 or they have to have 3,000 rand lens. You don't have to have that. I mean, technology now is so good and so up there that this is just a native lens, and look at the quality.
Absolutely. No, I'm really impressed.
Yeah. So let's see what's next. I can't remember what order it is. There's another mountain biking shot, and kind of like shooting into the sun here, and just I just put this in to see the details in the shadows and the dynamic range. I mean, the whole image is pretty well exposed, but in the wheel there, you can still see the detail, the name of the wheel and all that. So dynamic range of the cameras are great compared to DSLR. It's technology is moving ahead quite quick.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the timing of this one as well, where you've got the front wheel just nicely in the valley between Lion's Head over there.
Yeah, Lion's Head. Next time you come to Cape Town, I'll take you for a hike up there, and then you can
nice.
Talk about it. Yeah, so that's a small detail. I mean, I'm surprised you noticed that, but there are, like, when you get that feeling of a photo, I mean, that was kind of like what we're trying to get. But some people will notice that, some people won't. But yeah, that's it's a cool shot. I was pretty stoked with that. And then once again, this is with a 14-30 as well.
Sure.
So let's see what the next shot is. So this was shot last week with the Z7 II and the 24-70 2.8S. So I got the 24-70 2.8S last week, Monday. I started this Red Bull shoot on Tuesday up until Saturday. I just shot mirrorless, and this was one of the shots that we got. And specifically went to this location for the different colors and the sand and the highlights and everything, just to see how everything will work with all different types of colors. And I'm so impressed with the camera.
Yes, also, for a OCD person, the symmetry here is just beautiful. You've got the moment perfectly spot on. I mean, where his hands are, where his body is, it's fantastic. I love it. It's very cool. And as I say, carry on.
This wasn't also like a sequence. I think I shot, it was like a 3, 2, 1, go and shoot 2 snaps. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's all about timing. And I don't shoot a lot of dance. And this goes back to shooting subjects you understand. It's like chatting to the guys, seeing where the key timing is, find out how they do their countdowns, and just working together and getting shots like this, it's natural light and it's a cool, fun shot.
Absolutely. No, it's very cool. And Z7 II, that is a 45.7 megapixel and 10 frames per second. So this is this the flagship mirrorless?
I think this is the flagship mirrorless for Nikon at the moment because of the megapixel size. I mean, this and the 6 II, and obviously the Z9 is coming out soon. So yes I can't wait. Sure. Gonna have to stock up on some hard drives, I think.
Absolutely. And you know what the biggest problem is that there's a new one so often that you barely get used to the awesome technology that you've got with your current model. And then there's another one which is even better, and it's going to blow you away even more. It's I find that fascinating, but for people that suffer from gear acquisition syndrome, you need to have a blesser or a fantastically high-paying job to afford all this stuff.
Yeah, but there's also all the gear no idea thing going around.
True, very true.
The way I'm the most, and everyone knows this, I'm the most least technical person when it comes to camera gear. Like, don't come and talk all this technical stuff to me. I just fall asleep and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. The camera, I'll figure it out and I'll take photos. That's how it was back in the film days. I mean, back then there wasn't YouTube tutorials and Instagram stuff and all this knowledge to go and find out stuff. We'd have to go to Orms and speak to Mike Ormerod himself, or go to one of the other camera shops, and that was our source of information on the technical specs of a camera. So, I mean, everyone goes off about all this stuff about cameras, but do they actually use it? I mean, I set up my cameras that I know how they work, and I go and work, and I try and get the shots. Yeah, well, not try and get the shots.
Well, absolutely, yeah. There's no try. There's just do. I think there's certainly you'll have these jumps from one model to the next, and sometimes it takes a second generation to really make a huge difference. But I definitely think that mirrorless is providing us with the opportunity to make fantastic shots. That we haven't had before, and I really think that it's such a great piece of technology, and we just all got to make sure that we work it as much as we can. But at the same time, as you say, all the gear, no idea. You still got to know how to use the stuff in the first place. You don't have to use all of them, but you need to be able to use it to get those cool shots.
Yeah. I mean, this was a quick shot. We did this just in under 2 minutes, and we have to work fast. As a Red Bull photographer, we sometimes have to do a full profile shoot and an action shot in an hour. So we have to learn very quickly. Mirrorless has made it a bit easier. Yeah. So next shots, this was from the same event we were shooting called Dance Your Style, Z7 II. This is now shot with a flash. I used the flash here, and the reason for this is I wanted to get the city completely out of focus in the background, but I wanted that extra little light in. So I used the Edenchrome LB 400 light for this. I shot this at, I think it was 4000 2.8 ISO 100, and this was the result. So with the 7200 2.8, yeah, and this was the shot. And I think I did 4 shots, and this is the second or third one, yeah. And I'm very stoked with how this came out. All the focus is on her, and the background's so nice and out of focus. And it's like, it's years ago you couldn't shoot at these high speeds with flash and get these kind of shots. It was very difficult, and now things have become a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, I love my ELB 400 for exactly the same reason. You know, you can go out there, you know, have a amazing power on location, and it just like this scenario, you sort of pull out and highlight your character. Everything else a little bit more knocked back, and that I really love the look of that.
Yeah, that's very cool, and it's once again, this is all technology just progressing so quick and making images happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Thanks, Craig, for chatting about you know the Z series mirrorless cameras from Nikon. I think that it was really cool to get an idea of the kind of imagery that you can get with them. I mean, the thing is that with all cameras these days, all modern cameras, you can get incredible shots, you know, with all of them. But there's definitely a product for each particular shooting style, and you know, whatever you need it for. So I think it was quite cool to go through all of those and give people a bit of an indication as to what's out there from Nikon's point of view, so that you know, they can make a bit of an informed choice when it comes to you know, purchasing the cameras. So yeah. Thanks very much for taking the time. Thanks, Nikon, for sponsoring this showcase. I really appreciate it. I hope we can do a couple more in the future. So, Craig, what's on your cards? What's the next big shoot for you?
Sure. There's a lot of Red Bull events coming up, and we're shooting some personal projects, and I'm doing some overlanding content for an overlanding company. And yeah, I'm just trying to stay busy and stay focused. So I think everyone's still in a weird space and a weird, like, not sure what's going on. And I think it's just like, just stay positive and just stay away from the negativity and just do what you love and just go out and take photographs.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. So I suppose a bit of housekeeping here. If you're watching this for the first time, welcome. Thanks very much. Thanks for watching this far. Remember to subscribe, hit the like button and the notification bell, so that the next time we have this content, you'll be notified. If you're a subscriber, love you, rock stars. You know, the more subscribers we have, the more the channel will grow, and we can just keep educating, motivating, and inspiring photographers. So, Craig, all your social media links, etc., will be in the description for the video, so people can follow you and see what you're shooting. Good luck with the stuff that's coming up, and yeah, we'll chat to you hopefully in a couple of months and see some more stuff. I'm very keen on the overlanding images that you're talking about. That's something that I really want to do more of. Overlanding and obviously taking the pictures. So I'm really keen to see what comes out of that.
Yeah, I'll share some stuff with you privately. The funny thing is, a lot of the content we shoot is embargoed and can't be released for a while. So, yeah, I'll send you some images privately to look at. Get you started.
Very cool. Absolutely, I appreciate it. Thanks, Craig. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Cool. Thank you very much, and we'll chat soon. Cheers.